I just think it's fascinating to me that everybody puts out, it's almost like this, it's a constant, and we can pick, it's kind of what we talked about on the last podcast as well. It's like this constant, I'm going to judge everybody else. I want justice because of all these things that I feel. I want this, and this, but nobody's willing to look in and be like, man, maybe there's something that I need to change. Maybe there's something that I need to work out in my life. And that, to me, is a reason that people can't forgive. It just hurts my heart that people walk around, and I don't even think people realize, like kind of what we were just saying, I don't think people even realize that they're harboring unforgiveness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hurts my heart.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot, like when somebody doesn't forgive you for something, like when you know you've done something, which I've done a lot of things I need forgiveness from people.
Yeah.
When they won't let it go, it hurts and it bothers you. But it also should make you kind of reflect internally, like, well, who am I not forgiving? That's what I can't control. Like if there's things out there that I need forgiveness for, then I need to think about those people that probably feel the same way I do.
Yeah.
Because maybe you haven't just said, well, I forgive you, but maybe you just ignore people.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't respond to their texts anymore. You don't answer their calls, and they're sitting there going, what did I do wrong? And maybe they did something wrong, and maybe not. Maybe you've forgiven, but you're not ready to reconcile. That's kind of, Phyllis is going to do a deeper dive on that in her book, does a real deep dive, and I think explains it really well. I heard it years ago. I think Rick Warren said it, that not forgiving someone or having resentment for someone, which I would say are similar, I guess maybe the same thing, is like drinking poison and hoping it hurts the other person, because it is only going to affect you.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, that's good. I just think about what would happen because I was reading through, as I was kind of preparing for today, I was reading through Exodus 34, and it was just talking about how the Lord's, and I was kind of talking to you about this, how the Lord's given all this direction to the Israelites out of think about how many times they turned their back on the Lord. They didn't want to listen to a thing that he was saying. He's saying, I'm taking you to the promised land. Like, think about this. There's no better promise from the Lord than him saying, I'm going to take you to the promised land. And that's exactly what he says to all of us too. It's like, I have purpose for you. I have vision for you. I have all these plans for your life, and I actually want what's best for you. But for some reason, you can't grab hold of it. And so I think about how many times the Lord forgave the Israelites. That's just kind of what it reminded me of, and how many times he's forgiven us for all of our thoughts, like our little things. It's like when you think about it, you might as well act on it, kind of sort of thing. And I just think about all the things that are running through my own brain and the forgiveness that I do not deserve, but the Lord continues to give in the first place. But we just decide everybody else is wrong, I'm right, and I don't want to forgive anybody.
It is a choice. We need to understand that we have to forgive, and we need to want it just as much as, we can never want anything as much as God wants it, but we've got to want forgiveness.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd rather hold on to our idea of vengeance than forgive.
Yeah, but so let's just talk about vengeance, which is a perfect transition to the question I have, and we'll start with you. Why does everybody feel so angry? Why does the world feel so angry?
I don't know. I guess it's, we all feel like we're after something, and if you're not getting whatever it is you're after, you just get upset. I think it starts as an infant. I need some milk. I need my diaper changed. I need whatever. If you don't get your way, you react, you cry, you throw a fit. And I think the problem is that people aren't maturing enough and nurturing. They're being nurtured enough to be weaned away from that, to be independent, to understand that it's not always all about me. And I think I've said this before, that I think raising a kid, and we've raised 6 of them, your number one goal is to teach them to be unselfish. So in 18 years, you hope they realize the world is not about them and it don't revolve around them. That's your number one goal. And of course, that means understanding godly values, understand the love of Christ, and on all those things are very, those are central in that. But bottom line is, can I teach my children in 18 years to be unselfish? Because when I see my kids do things, even now, our kids are 22 to 30, almost 35. Man, I'm old. But when you see them do something unselfish, it's the proudest you'll ever be. But when you see them do something that's selfish, it's the least proud you are. So I think, but you take that to kids, and our kids had a pretty good life.
Yeah.
Most kids don't. I would say most kids in the world probably don't. And all you're going to do is react to what you know. And I think that's, again, what Phyllis gets into a lot is you react, you respond in the way you've been taught, trained, what you've seen, and you maybe sometimes just don't know another way.
Yeah.
So you just end up with a whole lot of pissed off people that are mad at the world. There's a line in Tombstone that we talked about that this morning, my favorite movie, where I think it was Doc Holliday asked Wyatt Earp, like, why is Johnny Ringo the way he is? And I believe the line is he's just upset for being born. And it just really gets to the root of it.
Yeah.
Nothing can ever satisfy. I think we live in a world where people are so easily offended. So first of all,
That's
you're
offensive.
easily offended. You are setting yourself up for chronic unforgiveness. And then people don't want to forgive because they think that means you're saying something that was done to you was okay. But forgiveness doesn't mean that you're okay with what happened. That's not the same thing.
Yeah. But I think that people, like, that's where what you're saying is, it's broken homes. So, like, broken homes in the United States of America, broken homes across the world, where people there's not, when you talk about raising your kids selfish, unselfish, there's so many kids out there running around with anger that are now adults that didn't have dads, that didn't have present parents. It didn't matter who it was, moms, dads, doesn't matter, because I believe that a single mom can raise their kids well, whether the dad is home, present in the home or not. But I believe there's value in that as well. I'm just saying there is a generation of broken individuals that are constantly angry at the world and want to blame everybody else for the things that they're going through. And you have to, whether or not you ever talk to that person or not, whether or not you get reconciliation from that person or that relationship, you have to be willing to forgive. And not necessarily, because I liked what you said, like, I don't think that forgiving and forgetting are the same. Like, you don't have to forget the things that you've walked through.
Well, you can't.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, sometimes people who've experienced trauma can't remember a lot of things, but that's different from, like, oh, if you forgive, you forget. There's a lot of things you can do with forgiveness, but you won't forget. It's not the same thing. That's
really good. And but why? Why were we taught? Why was it always said, forgive and forget?
I think
as a kid,
wishful thinking. I think people just didn't know what to do with it. Like, what do I do with it? If I'm forgiving, what does that even mean? I don't know why that's not a part of our upbringing, our culture. Like, why is it that we have this really skewed view of what forgiveness is? And I do take that deep dive in the book to talk about that. And I mean, you were talking about, like, divorce and things like that. That's enough for a kid to deal with if nothing else happened. But then you've got parents going, rah, rah, rah. I see it. Like, if you're going through a divorce or you've gone through a divorce, the worst thing you can do is talk about the other parent.
Yeah.
Talk down about them.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, again, that you just should paint a rosy picture. Kids are sometimes able to hear some of the truth, but if you're just constantly bad mouthing your ex, husband or wife, that's not helpful to kids.
No.
Especially if you're still, for whatever reason, if the divorce was about you and the kids are doing a custody thing or going back and forth, I can hear in my clients' vocabulary sometimes, like, or just in general, not even clients, but just in general. But you can hear some of the words that a kid may say that they've heard from a parent. You're like, you didn't come up with that by yourself,
For sure.
But that's valuable too. The whole, just because you get divorced, and this is taking a whole left field turn, but, like, just because you get divorced doesn't mean you're not responsible for protecting your kids anymore. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you're not responsible for still honoring the other person in the process, because there are things that, but once again, I go back to, I think that's half the battle with the things that we're dealing with in this world right now, is you've got a lot of confused parents, maybe hurt, broken individuals that really, we can just land back on forgiveness all day long, that are raising children now. And everywhere we look, children are trying to find, and all of us also, I think that we all fall into this. We're all trying to find our identity in social media. We're all trying to find our identity in, hey, how many likes did I get? Hey, who shared my post? Whatever it may be. And it's just a trick of the devil, and it hurts my heart. I fall into that often and it's my pride kicking in, and I'm just like, man, if I share this, I'll get a bunch of shares and I'll get a bunch of follows and all these different things. When we have to ask ourselves, what are we doing any of this for? And if it's not for the Lord, I don't want to be doing it.
Well, it goes back to just being unselfish. I mean, everything you do should be for something else greater than